Well, I mean, Suzanne knows that we started talking about changing the curriculum, I think, what was it, Suzanne, about 5 years ago?
Yep.
Um, we could see what was happening, that we knew that digital publishing was coming. We didn't know when it was going to happen, but it already happened in the music business. It had happened in the motion picture business, which my brother was involved in. So we knew that it was only a matter of time. And it would be a sea change. It would be the greatest change literally since Gutenberg, and we were all aware of that. We just didn't know when. I will tell you that this year, as a matter of fact, today, when I started looking over the sales of some of our titles with ebooks, and you'd see that 14% of the sales, 12% of the sales, 18% of the sales are the digital versions of the book. It's here, it's now. It is happening, and what's extraordinary is we've only just in Canada started having readers. We didn't have the Sony, reader until last year. We still don't have a Kindle. We're waiting for the Kobo. We're waiting for the iPad, and yet, but the ability to download digital books is already out there, and people have netbooks and PCs and iPhones are the biggest established base, are already doing this. So it's not a question of when it's going to happen. It's happened. And now it's just going to grow. The big question is how quickly and how pervasively the ebooks will be in our world. I mean, we still have, let's face it, the vast majority of the publishing business right now is still paper. It's still 90%, 95% for a lot of publishers. But that small percentage is not going to be small for long. There's 5 million readers that have been sold, just in the last year. That's going to grow exponentially as more devices become available, and as technology, as it always does, begins to bring the unit prices down because there's more acceptance, and the base is broadened. So I don't think it's going to be too long till we see a Kindle at $99. And look, I remember when I was in university, I went to an engineering school. We had slide rules, and the rich kids had these Hewlett-Packard, calculators, which were really, they were big. They were about 6 to 8 inches, and they were heavy. And I think in today's money would probably cost about $1,000. And now, of course, if you subscribe to a magazine, they send you a pocket calculator, or they're free in a box of cereal, or they're on J-hooks. So I don't know what the reader's going to look like. I don't think it's going to look like the Kindle. I don't think it's going to look like the iPad. I think that, in a way, the Kindle and iPad is not the Kindle, but the Sony reader and the black and white devices are kind of like black and white TV. And they're kind of like the 8-track tape. It very well be that in a few years, instead of my eyeglasses just being eyeglasses, I'll be able to scroll, Wuthering Heights, War and Peace, whatever, raise the font, brighten the background, and it'll all be on my eyeglasses. I once facetiously on the CBC said that I think the real future is we're going to be implanted with some kind of device that we will simply download the memory of having read a book. And so you'll go to sleep, and, you'll say, okay, while I'm sleeping, I'll download War and Peace into my brain. And the next morning you wake up, go, God, what an amazing novel.
What a great idea.
Well, who knows? I mean, we don't know. All we know right now is that it is very much happening. We knew this was going to happen. And the Simon Fraser publishing workshop, the curriculum reflects that great change. We're bringing in a much more diverse group of speakers, much more diverse group of people who are not directly necessarily involved with publishing, but involved in the technology of publishing. So I think, but at the end of the day, with anything, you still have to learn the basics. I mean, you can't do jazz until you learn, your scales and your keys and all the fundamentals. And what Simon Fraser does in those very intense 2 weeks is really give all the participants a real foundation in the fundamental basis of publishing, the fundamental activities, and then everything after that is variations on the theme.